Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Did you know that certain sins, although often ignored, can destroy not only our spiritual well-being, but also our material prosperity? In this video, we will explore 8 major sins that lead directly to poverty, both in this world and the afterlife. Through inspiring stories and verses from the Quran, we will discover how these actions impoverish our soul and keep barakah away from our lives. Stay with us, because this journey might just change the way you see their wealth and prosperity. 1. Greed. The trap of fear of losing greed often finds its source in a deep feeling of insecurity. This irrational fear pushes man to cling to what he has, as if each piece or material good were his last breath of life. However, this attitude ends up imprisoning the soul, reducing inner wealth and keeping away the blessings of Allah. The miserly man closes himself off from others, living in an illusion where accumulating is synonymous with security. But what security is there without the barakah, blessing of Allah? Consider the story of a successful merchant from the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Known for his wealth, he was also famous for his hardness of heart. Beggars and the needy passed his shop with pleading looks, but he consistently refused to share his gold or merchandise. One evening, an inexplicable fire destroyed his entire business. What seemed unshakable disappeared in an instant. When the Prophet was questioned on this subject, he recalled that wealth does not belong to man, but to Allah, and that he who refuses to give loses much more than money. Wealth is not diminished by alms, he teaches us. Sahih Muslim. In a world where possessions are ephemeral, Allah invites us to an inspiring paradox, giving to receive more. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:262 illuminates this truth. Those who spend their wealth in the cause of Allah will have their reward with their Lord. Imagine for a moment, are you truly in control of what you have, or are you a slave to the fear of losing? How many times have you had the opportunity to help someone and held back for fear that it would reduce your ability? What if, in truth, giving was the secret to lasting prosperity? In nature, stagnant water quickly becomes unfit for life, while flowing water nourishes everything in its path. Likewise, our material and spiritual wealth grows when it circulates. Meditative question. What is holding you back today? Is it fear or doubt in Allah's promise? Perhaps it is time to rediscover the joy of giving and lighten your heart from the burden of greed. 2. Lying, a poison that destroys trust. A lie is a veil that obscures the light of the soul. It is not only an offense to others, but a betrayal of oneself. Every lying word spoken is a stone in a wall that isolates the individual from divine guidance. Lying may seem like a quick solution to escape a problem or gain, but it acts like a slow poison that destroys trust and therefore prosperity. Imagine a merchant who lies about the quality of his products. He touts defective merchandise as if it were perfect, deceiving his customers to make an immediate profit. At first, he may believe that his business is prospering, but over time, customers discover the truth and turn away from him. His reputation collapses, and with it, his wealth. For what? Because barakah, blessing, leaves actions based on deception. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned, "He who lies is not one of us." This hadith is not a simple warning. He reminds us that lying distances us from the community of believers and from the mercy of Allah. Allah also says in the Quran, Allah does not guide the one who is outrageous and deceitful. Surah Ghafir 40:28. The truth, although it may be difficult to say in the moment, carries with it an unwavering force. It inspires trust and builds lasting relationships. Conversely, lying creates unstable terrain, similar to a sandcastle in the face of the rising tide. In everyday life, lying may seem harmless, a little exaggeration here, an omitted detail there. But these little actions add up. They tarnish the soul and deprive the individual of inner peace. Even a child who lies ends up being exposed. So what about the adult? Inspiring question. Is your success based on truth or illusions? When you look in the mirror, do you see an individual who walks in the light of sincerity, or someone who wavers under the weight of their deceptions? The truth is a key. It opens the doors of mercy and blessings. Lies, on the other hand, are a chain that binds man to failure. The choice is yours. Will you be one of those who build their life on solid foundations, or one of those who chase mirages? 3. Injustice, a burden for the soul. Injustice is a shadow that weighs heavily on the human heart. It eats away at the soul, eclipses the light of faith, and prevents inner peace. Even the smallest injustice committed with seemingly innocent intentions leaves an invisible but deep scar. This wound never heals, but grows silently, drawing upon itself spiritual and material poverty. Injustice is a destructive force that is not limited to visible acts. It also affects the intention and the way we look at others. The story of a tyrannical king, mentioned in numerous stories, perfectly illustrates this phenomenon. This king, obsessed with the accumulation of wealth and power, did not hesitate to take the lands of his subjects by force. He believed himself to be invincible, surrounded by wealth and opulence. But his unjust rule has sowed resentment in the hearts of his people. One day, the revolt broke out. His own allies turned against him, and in an instant he lost everything he had accumulated. This king, who believed he could buy loyalty and peace with his ill-gotten wealth, ended up being overthrown by the same injustice he had sown. This reminds us of a simple but profound truth. Allah is just, and He loves those who demonstrate justice. Injustice is not only a violation of the rights of others, but also a violation of the divine order established by Allah. He who abuses his power or takes advantage of the weakness of others for his own gain can only hope for divine mercy. Allah is the only righteous one, and he who strays from justice strays from His guidance. The Quran reminds us, surely Allah commands justice, beneficence, and assistance to loved ones. Surah An-Nahl, 1690. Justice is not just a matter of law or politics. It's a matter of the heart. The just person is the one who, even in a position of power, acts with fairness and kindness. He does not seek to exploit the weakness of others, but uses his position to help and uplift those in need. Each unjust action, even minimal, is one stone too many in the building of barakah and spiritual well-being. Question to ask yourself: have you ever taken advantage of someone's weakness for your own gain? Perhaps without even realizing it, you took what wasn't yours or ignored a brother or sister's cry for help. In your daily actions, what weight of justice do you carry in your heart? When we commit injustice, we not only steal what belongs to others, but also some of our own peace and blessings. Justice is the balance that allows humanity to live in harmony, and anyone who neglects this truth ends up losing everything they have acquired, however precious it may be. 4. Backbiting, a habit that destroys relationships. Backbiting is a curse disguised in words. At first glance, it may seem harmless to discuss others' faults, share rumors, or pass judgments. Yet behind every malicious word lies a broken soul, a broken relationship, and a missing barakah. Backbiting is not only a sin in itself, it is a poison which degrades the soul and generates a rupture in fraternal bonds. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, compared backbiting to an abominable act, an act of spiritual cannibalism. And do not speak ill of one another. Would any of you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? Surah Al-Hujurat, 49:12. These words, simple but impactful, describe with incredible force the horror of slander. The comparison with dead flesh is a striking metaphor. To speak badly of someone is to reduce them to something disgusting, as if we were consuming the dignity of the other. But what we forget is that, by engaging in slander, we also lose part of our own dignity. Let's take the example of a pious woman, a person whose religious practice seemed impeccable. She prayed every day with devotion, and yet she had this habit of bad-mouthing her neighbors, the members of her community. No matter how many prayers she performed, this bad habit undermined her soul, eroding the barakah of her actions. She found herself isolated, rejected by those she hurt with her words, and her spirituality, although visible in her actions, was tarnished by her lack of respect for others. It is easy to believe that our faith rests solely on our visible actions, such as prayer or fasting. But true faith is also measured in the way we speak about others, in the purity of our language and the nobility of our thoughts. Backbiting, even in the form of petty gossip, not only destroys relationships, but also takes away the light of Allah. Deep question. Do your words bring light or shadow into the lives of others? Each word spoken carries with it power. Do you choose to nurture love and harmony, or fuel doubt and division? The true test of our spirituality is found in how we treat others through our words. A pure heart does not seek to bring down, but to elevate. When a Muslim protects himself from slander, he preserves his own soul and strengthens his relationships, thus building a community based on respect and kindness. 5. Cheating, a path to failure. Cheating, although it may seem to offer quick wins, is nothing more than a mirage. It always leads to failure, not only material, but also spiritual. By seeking to circumvent the truth to obtain what we want, we gradually move away from the blessings of Allah. Cheating, however subtle it may be, destabilizes the divine balance and deprives those who use it of real and lasting benefits. Take the example of a once prosperous farmer who decided to mix water with his milk to increase the quantity and sell it at a higher price. Initially, his business prospered thanks to this ploy. However, over time his deception was discovered by his clients, and he lost their trust. Not only did he lose his customers, but the barakah from his crops died out. His farm, once full of prosperity, was struck by poverty. He sought to maximize his profit by bending the rules, but he paid the price by losing everything he had accumulated. The Quran explicitly warns us about those who seek to deceive others. Woe to the fraudsters. Surah Al-Mutaffifin, 83. This does not only concern business transactions, but any type of cheating, whether in personal life, professional life, or even in small daily actions. Every fraud, no matter how insignificant it may seem, is a violation of the principles of justice and fairness that Allah has established. Cheating undermines the foundation on which true prosperity rests. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that he who commits fraud, even in a small thing, is guilty of a great sin. The person who chooses to cheat is not building a solid foundation for their success, but rather a fragile and unstable structure, doomed to collapse. Truth and integrity are the true keys to success. It is not what we accumulate through dishonest means that will bring us peace, but what we obtain through honesty and hard work. Question for reflection. Is your success based on solid or fragile foundations? If you built your success on cheating, know that it can collapse at any time. But if you choose the path of sincerity and honesty, your foundation will be indestructible, blessed by Allah. 6. Jealousy. A fire that consumes wealth. Jealousy is a toxic emotion, like a consuming fire that consumes not only the soul, but also the blessings of Allah. When a person allows himself to be overcome by jealousy, he turns away from his own blessings, no longer seeing the light of his own blessings. Jealousy breeds permanent dissatisfaction and gives rise to thoughts and actions that destroy not only relationships, but also inner peace. Let's imagine a man jealous of his neighbor's prosperity. Rather than focusing on his own opportunities, he plots, harbors thoughts of hatred, and seeks to harm those he envies. He is ready to do anything to bring down his neighbor. But his actions, based on jealousy, end up destroying him. He himself finds himself in an even more miserable situation than that of the one he sought to reach. His heart is filled with anger and frustration, and this negative energy only attracts poverty and failure into his own life. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned, "Jealousy devours good deeds, as fire devours wood." This hadith reveals the cruel truth of jealousy. It destroys the good deeds we do. When we focus on the lives of others, when we wish for their misfortune or failure, we disrupt our own connection with Allah. Jealousy burns our hearts, clouds our vision, and prevents us from seeing the divine blessings that are already present in our own lives. The Quran also teaches us, "Do not covet what Allah has given to some of you as favors." Surah An-Nisa 4:32. This verse reminds us that what we have is not a coincidence, but a gift from Allah. Each of us has unique blessings, whether small or large, visible or hidden. Jealousy arises from looking at what others have and convincing ourselves that what we have is not enough. However, Allah, in His infinite wisdom, distributes His favors fairly, according to what is best for each person. Inspiring question. What do you do to transform your jealousy into gratitude? Instead of allowing yourself to be consumed by jealousy, what would happen if you recognized every blessing you possess and offers of gratitude to Allah? Gratitude, far from being a simple feeling, is a path that opens the door to new blessings. When you choose gratitude, jealousy disappears and barakah enters your life. The real cure for jealousy is learning to celebrate the success of others, rejoice for them, and focus on our own blessings that Allah has given us. This not only transforms our hearts, but also attracts divine abundance into our lives. 7. Laziness, an obstacle to subsistence. Laziness is one of the greatest obstacles to prosperity, not only material, but also spiritual. It prevents the individual from taking the necessary initiatives to improve their situation and deploying the efforts required to achieve their objectives. Many get caught up in the illusion that blessings will come without work, without effort. But that is not how divine law works. Allah, in His wisdom, has commanded each of us to seek sustenance through work and sincere effort. Take the example of a man who constantly complains about his poverty, but refuses to look for a job or invest time and energy to improve his situation. He spends his days waiting for luck to come knocking at his door, but he makes no effort to meet it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, emphasized the importance of personal effort. Man receives only the fruit of his efforts. This hadith summarizes the universal truth that each individual reaps what he sows. If we choose to live in laziness, remain inactive and allow ourselves to be overcome by thoughts of frustration, we deprive ourselves of the blessings of Allah and the opportunities that surround us. The lazy man does not receive what he hopes for, because he has not taken the initiative to seek and work for what he desires. This principle is also highlighted in the Quran. And let man only obtain the fruit of his efforts. Surah An-Najm 53-39. This call to action reminds us that success is not simply the result of chance or luck, but of sustained effort, perseverance, and determination. Laziness deprives us of this dynamic of progress, of this chance to shape our destiny. He who remains inactive, content to dream without acting, never sees his dreams come true. Key question: are you building or dreaming of your success? Dreams are important, but without the effort to make them come true, they simply remain illusions. If you truly want to change your situation, you must act, make decisions, Make sacrifices and persevere. Success is the result of constant work and determination. If you wait for everything to happen for you, you risk living in stagnation and missing the path to blessed sustenance. 8. Pride, the door to spiritual poverty. Pride is a slow but powerful poison, capable of eating away not only the soul, but also the blessings that Allah bestows. When a person becomes arrogant, he cuts himself off from divine mercy and closes his heart to the guidance of Allah. Pride consists of feeling superior to others, contemptuous of the advice of the wise, and neglecting those most in need. This attitude, although apparently stemming from a feeling of grandeur, inevitably leads to spiritual and material downfall. A rich man, for example, thought his wealth was a sign of his superiority. He despised the poor and refused to heed the wise counsel of those around him. He believed that nothing could harm him as long as he retained his wealth. But one day an unexpected economic crisis struck, and he lost everything. The fortune he had accumulated while believing himself to be invincible collapsed in an instant. His possessions were scattered, his allies abandoned him, and he found himself alone, with nothing. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned us against arrogance. In a hadith he said, "Whoever has an atom of pride in his heart will not enter paradise." Sahih Muslim. This shows that pride is a closed door to divine mercy. Allah loves the humble, those who recognize the truth, and who do not believe themselves above others. The Quran also warns against arrogance. Do not turn your face away from people or tread the earth arrogantly. Surah Luqman 31:18. This warning highlights the importance of humility and recognizing our limitations as human beings. The earth belongs to Allah, and we are only temporary travelers on it. The true sign of greatness is humility and respect for others, whether they are rich or poor, powerful or weak. He who believes himself superior through his social status, his wealth, or his knowledge, forgets that everything he possesses comes from Allah and can be taken at any time. Ultimate question: is your heart at peace or at war with the blessings of Allah? If you allow yourself to be guided by pride, you will be at war with inner peace and divine blessings. But if you choose humility, you will live in gratitude, thus receiving the peace that Allah grants to those who remain humble and grateful to Him. Every one of us strives for success, but this quest must not be pursued at the expense of Allah's principles. The sins we explored in this video are not simple mistakes, but subtle traps that lead us astray of the divine way. Whether through greed, lies, jealousy, or pride, every malicious act is a step towards poverty, not only material, but also spiritual. Born lies not in what we have, but in what we offer, and above all, in the purity of our hearts before Allah. Be vigilant, transform your actions, and seek divine blessing in everything you do.